Half a year after the engagement, John Smith deliberately lost the game and gave me to his uncle, Michael Brown. I publicly proposed to cancel the engagement, but he thought I was just being petulant. That night, after drinking, I seduced the seemingly refined but degenerate man until he couldn't resist. In the heat of passion, he pinned me against the floor-to-ceiling window. Lily Wilson, marry me. I'll solve your problems. Later, I heard that John, with his proud spirit, was punished to kneel in front of the Brown family ancestral hall all night for disrupting his uncle's wedding. Just after class, John sent a car to pick me up. He said he lost a game and only I could save the situation. Arriving at the Brown family's private restaurant, I saw John leaning on the sofa, with a beautiful and sexy girl sitting beside him. I knew that girl. She was his kept woman, and I was his fiancé. Seeing me, John smirked playfully. Lily, my Uncle Michael is back. Only then did I notice a man sitting opposite John. The man was dressed in a black suit, with cold and handsome features. He wore a string of prayer beads on his wrist. He sat on the sofa with his long legs crossed, exuding an intimidating aura. With a quick glance, my heart pounded wildly. It was Michael, the head of the wealthiest family in the capital, the most powerful and aloof figure in the entire city. Lily, I played a game with my Uncle Michael. My luck was bad. I lost. And the bet was you. Tonight, you accompany him, and I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. John's casual and unrestrained voice brought me back to reality. I stared at him in disbelief. John, I'm your fiancé. How could you give me as a bet to someone else? John pulled Sophia into his arms and sneered lightly. What fiancé? Lily, do you know your place? You're just my arranged marriage partner now. John was right. I was indeed just his arranged marriage partner. Half a year ago, my family's company had a problem. People in the capital distanced themselves intentionally. It was John who, despite his parents' opposition, insisted on an arranged marriage with the Wilson family to protect me. We had known each other for 10 years. I thought he would be my eternal savior. But when I fantasized about walking into the marriage hall with him, he secretly kept a girl who pleased him more than I did. Today, he even made me a bet. Every word from John felt like a slow torture to my heart. Unprecedented anger and humiliation choked my heart, making it hard to breathe. Seeing me silent, John brushed Sophia's hair and chuckled, reminding me, Miss Lily, your family is about to go bankrupt. If you can't even accompany someone now, how will you establish yourself in the capital in the future? We're all familiar. My Uncle Michael won't do anything to you. You can just accompany him for a meal or watch a movie. I smiled faintly. Don't worry. I indeed don't know how to accompany people, but I'd be happy to accompany your Uncle Michael. From today on, we officially cancel the arranged marriage. I wish you and Sophia a long and happy life together. Michael, who was sitting on the sofa, suddenly stood up. He looked at me thoughtfully, then left the Western restaurant. I turned to leave, but John called out to me coldly. Lily, what kind of petulant game are you playing again? I just asked you to accompany someone. Is it necessary to cancel the arranged marriage? Of course it is necessary. I laughed angrily. If I'm almost sold off, why stay? Should I remain to be gossip fodder? After going out, I saw Michael. He was on the phone, his face expressionless. His slim and tall figure under the cool-toned lighting emitted a sinister aura, making one dare not look longer. Little Tiger bot for anti-piracy file protection. Choose the book Robot Little Tiger. Stable and reliable. No pitfalls. Miss Lily. Hello. I'm David. Mr. Michael's assistant. It's cold on this rainy day. He asked you to get in the car first. Of course. If you're not willing, I'll have someone send you back to the Wilson family right now. A gentle male voice came from behind. I nervously clutched the corner of my dress. The Wilson family now was no longer what it used to be, without the marriage alliance with the Brown family. The Wilson family's capital chain would break. If my dad knew that I had canceled the engagement with John on my own initiative, his heart disease would surely flare up in anger. Until I got into the Rolls-Royce. John didn't come after me. A feeling of pent-up frustration welled up in my heart like a tide, and I couldn't help clenching my fist. David, go to Skyview Manor. A cold voice sounded as the door opened. After Michael sat down, I quietly moved a few centimeters to the side. Lily. After 4 years, are you still so afraid of me? There was no trace of emotion in Michael's eyes, and the tense string in me snapped. I kind of regretted getting in his car. The Wilson family and the Brown family were old friends. When my grandfather was alive, he often took me to the Brown family's old house. I once heard the servants talking about how Michael lost his mother at a young age and had a paranoid personality, and it was best to stay away from him. So every time I saw him, I would avoid him. When I was in my senior year of high school, Michael had just graduated from college. He went abroad to study and expand the market, and was away for 4 years. A strange call suddenly broke the silence in the car. As soon as I answered, I heard John and his buddy laughing mockingly. I really want to see if this well-known cold and aloof guy in the capital city will be tempted by a woman. It's a bit of a pity, though. I haven't even had a taste of Lily yet. My heart tightened. In John's voice, I couldn't hear a hint of guilt for losing the game. Only more mockery. Someone asked him with a laugh. John, if your uncle really sleeps with Lily, will you still marry her? Suddenly, there was a touch of annoyance in John's voice. I heard from the servants at home that Michael has never had a girlfriend. He's either gay or impotent. Why does he wear that Buddhist bead bracelet? Isn't it a reminder for himself to abstain from desires? If Lily doesn't make the first move, he'll never touch her. If Lily really tries to seduce him, I don't want such a woman anyway. Michael's hand, which was playing with the Buddhist beads, paused. I looked up and met a pair of dark, cold eyes. You uncle. I was so flustered by his stare that I quickly hung up the phone. John was really rude. In front of an elder. How could he say such a thing about someone? John wouldn't have called me just for the fun of it. It must have been Sophia who made him do it. Uncle. Michael slightly curled his thin lips and sized me up. Don't call me that casually. I'm John's uncle, not yours. Sorry, Mr. Brown. Michael frowned, apparently not satisfied with this address either. But besides Mr. Brown, I couldn't think of any other way to call him. So I had to change the subject. Mr. Brown, what are you taking me to your private manor for? What do you think? Michael reached out to lower the partition in the car, and there was a faint smile in his voice. Looking at the suddenly enclosed space, my body stiffened. Not knowing how to answer this question. This kind of bet was quite common in the social circle of the capital city. Asking such a question would only make me seem like I was playing hard to get in Michael's eyes. But just thinking about John using me as a bet made my nose a bit sour. Did you regret getting in my car? I looked up at the sound of his voice and suddenly met Michael Brown's deep, cold gaze. No, I didn't. The rumors say you're not interested in women. But before I could finish, my chin was lifted without a word. Michael's features gradually loomed larger before me, and a scorching kiss abruptly landed on my lips. I stared in shock, my eyes wide. Just as I was about to lose my breath, Michael released me. After a moment, he murmured softly, "Stop reading those false reports." I swallowed hard, steadying myself for several seconds before cautiously reminding him, "Mr. Brown, I'm your nephew John Smith's arranged marriage partner." Michael's brow furrowed slightly, his tone neither warm nor cold. "Lily Wilson. Your grandfather once saved my grandfather's life. They made a pact that if either family faced trouble, they could resolve it through an arranged marriage. The unmarried men of the Brown family aren't limited to John. Me." What did Michael mean by that? He, the famously reclusive figure in high society, could he be proposing an arranged marriage with my Wilson family? I had heard grandfather mention the agreement once, but never took it seriously. Moments later, the car eased to a stop at the entrance of Michael's private estate. Servants came forward to open the door. Michael suddenly clasped my waist with his warm, large hand and carried me out of the car. I saw the rows of servants on both sides gaping in astonishment. Of course, uncle carrying his nephew's arranged marriage partner. Who wouldn't be shocked by that? On reaching the master bedroom on the 4th floor, Michael took off his suit jacket, revealing his well-defined arms, and glanced at me coolly. There's hot ginger tea on the table. Drink it while it's warm. I'm going to take a shower. The aloof, ascetic man actually cared about someone, watching his tall, retreating figure. I couldn't fathom what was on his mind. After finishing the ginger tea, a servant took the tray and closed the door. As the sound of running water from the bathroom faded, I grew timid. I had followed Michael to his estate because John had lost me to him in a bet. But I never agreed to be John's wager. Was it too late to run away now? My phone suddenly rang, and John's call came through. I didn't want to answer, but it rang urgently like a death knell. Lily. You're so innocent you even blush when we kiss. I bet you'd never betray me. Right. Hearing John's casual laugh, I flushed with anger. John, we've already called off the arranged marriage. Even if I'm dating your Uncle Michael now. It's none of your business. Silence hung on the other end for a moment before his tone turned icy. Lily, I never agreed to cancel the engagement. I angrily hung up. What a jerk. Distractedly, I glanced around and spotted a bottle of wine on the table. I grabbed it and gulped down several mouthfuls. Halfway through, my head grew dizzy, so I immediately set the bottle down. By the floor-to-ceiling window stood a black grand piano. A handwritten score rested on the music stand. No title. Nothing I recognized. I moved the bench aside, sat down, and started playing from the sheet music. The piece was a lyrical A minor melody, but as I played on, my body grew hotter and hotter. An indescribable sensation began to itch in my heart, making it unbearable. My head was in a complete daze, and I had absolutely no idea when I ended up in Michael Brown's bed. Lily, why are you burning up? A worried voice came from beside my ear. I felt my body being pulled into a cool embrace, unable to resist. I snuggled closer and rubbed against it. Michael stiffened and immediately dialed a number. Michael, you called me back from abroad. Just because she's drunk. Why are you so worried? I've been dead drunk before. And I never saw you this concerned. Hang up. Let her sleep it off. The voice on the other end of the phone sounded familiar. It seemed to be my best friend's doctor brother. I wasn't sure. I'd listen closer. I staggered to my feet and was about to move closer to the phone when L pressed my head into his chest. He hung up the phone and gently asked me, Lily, are you feeling awful? I'll take you to the hospital now. Hospital. I hated going to the hospital more than anything in my life. Somehow, I found the courage to yank Michael onto the bed. Michael, I'm not going to the hospital. I'll be fine after a good sleep. Lily, get off me first. Michael's breathing was ragged. Seeing his ears turn red, I suddenly got the idea of teasing this so-called Buddha of the capital circle. Michael, I want to be with you. Do you want to be with me? It was true what they said about alcohol giving you courage. I felt like a melting ice cream cone on the beach. So hot and starting to babble nonsense. A hint of helplessness flashed across Michael's dark eyes. Soon, our positions were reversed. He lowered his head and whispered 2 words in my ear that made my whole body go weak. Michael tore off his black shirt. My eyes quickly glanced at his 8-pack abs. I swallowed hard. The abs were well-defined and incredibly attractive. No wonder he had the reputation of being the Buddha of the capital circle. Just then, Michael's phone rang inappropriately. The screen showed it was John Smith. Michael glanced at it and his expression turned cold. He picked up the phone. Uncle, I heard you took Lily to your private estate. John's tone was urgent. Before Michael could reply, He spoke again. I'm done with this game. I'll give you the billion-dollar project in the East City. Just send David to bring her back to me. Michael slightly curled his lips and finally dropped his pretense. John. Do you really think I'm short of that billion? As he finished speaking, he leaned down and kissed my lips. I couldn't help but let out a soft moan. Michael held the phone away from him and said in a flat voice, "Hang up. Don't interrupt me when I'm busy." Michael. You're crazy. Lily is mine. Aren't you afraid of retribution for stealing your nephew's fiancé? Michael didn't respond and just hung up the phone. But my hazy mind was jolted awake a bit by John's furious voice. Lily. Shall we continue? Huh? I opened my eyes wide and stared at Michael. There was a gentle smile in his eyes. This was so different from the aloof Buddha of the capital circle he usually was. But there was no denying that Michael's husky voice was very seductive. I tugged at the drawstring of his gray sleep pants. In a daze, Michael Brown lowered his head and gently bit my lower lip. His kiss was restrained, but I felt a bit tormented and involuntarily pulled his body closer. When I opened my eyes the next morning, I heard the sound of water flowing in the bathroom. It should be Michael taking a shower. I looked around, and my mind was filled with some R-rated scenes. Vaguely, I remembered that in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, Michael said a word to me. Lily. Marry me. I'll solve your problems. His deep and sexy voice echoed in my ear for a long time. Even now, it still left me a bit dazed. Because what happened last night was really absurd. Not long after, Michael walked out of the bathroom. I looked up, and my gaze immediately fell on his shoulder. After seeing a faint tooth mark there, my face quickly flushed. Michael had someone bring me a new dress. It fit me perfectly, as if it was custom made. After breakfast, he sent me to Jing University. Lily. Think about what I said last night. Michael looked down at me. I thought for a while before saying, "Okay, good. Leave the rest to me." Michael slightly raised his handsome eyebrows, looking in a great mood. I really didn't understand why he wanted to marry me through a political alliance. After all, this might cause conflicts within the Brown family, but I really needed a political alliance partner at present. Michael was the best choice. Lily. Still hurting? Hey, race the ointment. I applied it on you once last night. If you still feel pain, you can apply some more after you get to the dormitory. I was so ashamed that I wished I could find a hole to hide in when I saw Michael suddenly take out a pink ointment from his trouser pocket. What's wrong with this so-called Buddha-like figure in the capital circle? He did what he did. Why did he have to mention it? I fidgeted for a long time before whispering back. No. It doesn't hurt anymore. Sorry. I had no experience last night. I chose to stay silent. After sending me to Jing University, Michael went to his company. There was a lot to do in the next 2 days as the graduation defense was coming up next Monday. As soon as I got to the college gate, I saw John Smith. It seemed that he was waiting for me there on purpose. Lily. Why did you block me on WeChat and my phone number? I've cut off all relations with Sophia. I won't contact her anymore. Can you take back what you said about canceling the political alliance yesterday? Someone said they saw you and Michael at the school gate. He sent you here early in the morning. Did something really happen between you two last night? Seeing John looking haggard, I smiled faintly and said, "What happened between me and him? Does it have anything to do with you?" John seemed to be greatly shocked. He suddenly pulled me into his arms. Lily, don't you know you're having an affair? Last night, when I rushed to Michael's private manor, I was stopped by David. Otherwise, I would really have rushed in and beaten him up. I was so angry that I slapped John hard. John, what are you crazy about? Even if something really happened between me and Michael, it's none of your business. John wiped the blood from the corner of his lips with his hand and sneered. Lily. You're my political alliance partner. My uncle wouldn't dare to do anything to you. I deliberately lost you to him just because I knew this. People outside say he doesn't have an interest in women. I just wanted to send a woman to disgust him. I didn't say a word. He frowned tightly and softened his tone. I thought he wouldn't be interested in you. But when I knew he took you to his private manor, I panicked. I couldn't sleep last night. Regret kept growing in my heart. And I could only drown my sorrows in alcohol. Lily. I don't care what happened between you and Michael last night. From now on, you're not allowed to have any contact with him. He's more ruthless than you think. You can't outplay him. There's a family dinner at the Brown family tomorrow night. Let's go together. I want all my relatives to know that you're my fiancé. John Smith. I seriously suspected if John had his head stuck in the door. He was the one who pushed me away yesterday. And now he's the one who wants me back. I'm not going. Please leave now and don't disturb my class. After I refused. John pursed his lips and didn't say anything else. Watching his departing back, I really wondered if there was something wrong with me. I actually thought that he married me because he really liked me. At 7 o'clock the next evening, I went to the Brown family's dinner. As soon as I entered the venue, I saw John. He was wearing a well-tailored suit. And Sophia Green in a pink dress was intimately holding his arm. The two of them looked like the most well-matched couple. Maybe because they saw John publicly holding Sophia's arm. Those Brown family relatives who looked down on me suddenly perked up. Today is a family dinner. John publicly holding another woman's hand is enough to show that he doesn't want to marry Lily anymore. In the past 6 months of the marriage, John has been so promiscuous outside. Why does Lily never complain? It must be for the Brown family's money. How vulgar. Now, John has completely dumped her. Sophia let go of John and walked towards me through the crowd. With a provocative smile on her lips, she said, "Lily, why are you at the Brown family's dinner? Your engagement with John has been called off. No one invited you. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by coming uninvited? Or did you hook up with his uncle last night?" Sophia's voice was loud. People around smelled a big scoop and quickly looked at me. Lily is my fiancé. She has more right to be here than anyone else. Just then, Michael Brown's deep and cold voice came from the spiral staircase. He walked down, protected me in his arms, and glanced at Sophia expressionlessly. As for you, has John given you a proper status? Today is a family dinner. Unrelated people, please leave voluntarily. Sophia was so angry that her face and neck turned red. But she didn't dare to say a word. As soon as Michael said this, everyone at the scene except me showed shocked expressions. I came to the Brown family's dinner not because of John's invitation, but because of Michael. He called me yesterday and asked me to come to the dinner. Gossip in the wealthy families is always a hot topic. Everyone in the dinner hall rushed up. A boy in a white suit asked Michael with a smile, "Brother Michael, is what you just said true? Is this beautiful sister my cousin-in-law?" Michael slightly curled his thin lips. "Of course it's true. I planned to officially announce it in a few days. But I couldn't wait." Someone else asked, "Michael, did you rush back to the country just to marry Miss Lily?" To be honest, I also wanted to know the answer. Why did Michael suddenly return to the country? He just nodded slightly. John's mother immediately looked angry. "Michael, what's wrong with you? Although I don't like Lily. Anyway, she has been married to my son John. You, as his uncle, suddenly stepping in. Isn't that stealing someone's love?" "What stealing someone's love?" Although there was a faint smile on Michael's face, his tone was sinister. "Sister-in-law, I think you'd better ask your son what excessive things he has done instead of questioning me. Also, don't mess up the seniority. Lily's grandfather and my grandfather are brothers. It's inappropriate for Lily to marry John." Now it was quiet again. Given Michael's status and position, even if they had any thoughts in their hearts, they didn't dare to voice them out. Robert King, John's father, hesitated to speak. I knew a little about him. I saw a report earlier saying that he was brought back from an orphanage by Michael's father. That's why, although he is the eldest in the family, the person in power in the Brown family is Michael. John's face was tense. Angrily, he threw the wine glass in his hand on the ground and turned around to leave. Sophia glared at me hatefully and quickly chased after him. The family dinner ended in an unpleasant way. The next day, the news of the marriage alliance between the Brown and Wilson families hit the trending list. Did Michael Brown, the person in charge of the Brown family, and Lily Wilson, the eldest daughter of the Wilson family, fall in love after marriage or at first sight? Breaking. John Smith threw a glass in public. Breaking. The confusing love in the wealthy families. Is Mr. Brown forcing the marriage? For a moment, the whole internet was in an uproar. Some netizens were gossiping and sending blessings, while others bombarded my social media account. Lily, what are you pretending for? You made John lose face in public, but secretly seduced his uncle. How disgusting. Is the Buddha in the capital circle voluntarily descending from the altar for love? I heard from the grapevine that every time Lily attended a party, Michael's eyes never left her. Could it be that he's been into her for a long time? At noon, Michael took me out for a meal. Just as the first dish was served, my best friend Emma called. Lily, you're in a marriage alliance with Michael. I wouldn't have known if I hadn't seen the news from back home. Why didn't you tell me? And my brother didn't tell me either. I hate you guys. Emma, I've been so busy that I didn't have time to tell you. This whole thing happened rather suddenly. Apart from my parents, I hadn't had the chance to tell anyone else. Okay, I forgive you. I've always said that you and John were really not a good match. He doesn't deserve you. Even though you were in an alliance, he still kept a mistress outside. I really don't know how his parents raised him. But how did you suddenly end up in a marriage alliance with Michael? Didn't you say he seemed fierce and hard to get along with? Don't tell me that you've fallen head over heels in love with him while I was traveling abroad. I paused. No, I don't really know Michael well. Maybe he just needed a partner for the marriage alliance. I heard from my brother that you got drunk the other day, and it was at Michael's private estate. What exactly happened that night? Emma's question made me blush. In front of Michael, I didn't feel comfortable saying much, so I had to hang up the phone first and contact her later. Just as I hung up the phone, Michael, who was cutting the steak, paused slightly and asked me with a smile, Lily, when you say you're not familiar, do you mean only outside the bedroom? Great. I was rendered speechless again. After the meal, Michael drove me home. Throughout the afternoon, John called me many times. Not from his own phone but from unfamiliar numbers. There were also nearly 100 apology texts. I simply turned off my phone. In the evening, I went out for a walk and saw John sitting at the entrance of the community, with a few empty wine bottles scattered on the ground. Afraid of getting entangled with him, I turned around to leave. But as soon as I did, I heard him call my name. John ran over and forcefully hugged me. Lily, I'm really sorry about yesterday. I only invited Sophia because you said you wouldn't go to the family dinner. Let go, or I'll call the police and accuse you of sexual harassment. John was slightly stunned, seemingly not expecting me to be so cold. He let go of me and took out a diamond ring from his bag with a trembling hand. Lily, this is a wedding ring I designed for you myself. I know you still like me. Can we get back together? I was set up by Michael. I was really stupid that day and fell for his trick. He said there was a $1 billion project and wanted to play a game with me. The rule was that if I won, he'd give me the project. And if I lost, I had to find a woman who could play the piano. And he specifically named you. I wanted to embarrass him, so I asked you to go, since the person you like is me and you're my fiancé. I thought he wouldn't really do anything to you, but then everything got out of my control. I didn't know I'd be so jealous, seeing him standing with you and people saying you two were a perfect match. I was in so much pain. It was supposed to be me in the marriage alliance with you. I know I can't blame anyone. It's my fault that I missed the chance and lost you. John's words made my chest feel tight. I took a deep breath and then calmly looked at him, saying word by word, John. A prodigal's return means nothing to me. I was serious when I chose to be in the marriage alliance with you. And you always knew that. But after the alliance, you still kept a mistress outside, making me lose face. Whether you really wanted to push me to Michael or were set up by him, it doesn't matter to me anymore. John seemed to have a lump in his throat and looked desperate, as if afraid that I'd leave. He suddenly knelt down and pleaded, "Lily, do you really want to marry Michael? Won't you give me another chance?" It was hard to believe that the proud eldest son of the Brown family would kneel in front of me. "Yeah, after sleeping with your uncle, I don't want to marry you anymore." I smiled faintly. John Smith looked as if he was about to break. I turned around, and something seemed to be carried away by the wind. I knew what kind of person John was. He liked me to follow him obediently. After we actually got together, he grew tired of it. He was seduced by other girls outside, completely forgetting our promise. The John who said he would protect me was long gone. After returning home, I had someone check the surveillance footage and found that John had stood up, leaving dejectedly half an hour later, watching his lonely figure fade into the distance. My heart was surprisingly calm. Unable to sleep at midnight, I tidied up the house. I packed up everything related to him and threw it in the trash. I thought the matter was settled. But I didn't expect Sophia Green to slander me on social media, because someone said she was the other woman who ruined my relationship with John. She falsely accused me, saying that I always wanted to marry Michael Brown. So I used John to seduce him. Her post quickly became a trending topic. The comments scrolled rapidly. I said it. John has dated so many girls. Yet Lily Wilson would agree to an arranged marriage with him. Turns out she was aiming for the head of the Brown family. That's too much. Trying to climb up isn't done this way. John was used. So pitiful. Who will hug the broken him? Sophia Green. Don't try to whitewash yourself. You hooked up with John after his arranged marriage with Lily. How can you blame Lily? In the end, neither of you are any good. Sophia and I had no grudges. I pretended not to see her affairs with John. Since she wants to fight, I'm not a pushover either. I directly released a high-definition video of her, when she was still a model, deliberately seducing John at a gala. Before the gala started, she bribed a waiter. After it began, the waiter spilled wine on her. Coincidentally, she fell into John's arms. Sophia's dress was stained with red wine, and John immediately took her to the changing room. Soon, public opinion shifted. What the hell? This Sophia is too cunning. This plot is exactly like a supporting female character in a drama trying to get the male lead's attention. LOL. And she accuses Lily. Lily is at least the daughter of the Wilson family. She's known Michael since childhood. Saying she seduced him sounds too harsh. Previous comment. Agreed. Agreed what? Lily has no issues. She's incompetent. Who can she blame but herself? Blame John for not liking her. Yeah. What's wrong with Sophia? She just wants to date a handsome, rich man. After browsing social media for a while, I logged out. No need for me to intervene. Whenever negative rumors about me arise, Michael always has his PR team handle them immediately. After my best friend Emma Taylor returned from abroad, we went shopping together, talking about Michael. She looked angry. Lily, this aloof elite Michael is not at all what I imagined. You said he's gentle and considerate, but usually he doesn't show it. I suspect he's double standard. Then she couldn't help but laugh. My brother complained that he's a womanizer who neglects his friends. Since your arranged marriage, Michael hasn't been drinking with the guys. Hey, Lily, I have a guess. Has Michael liked you all along? Hearing this, I was stunned. Michael likes me. Probably not. Michael is 5 years older than me. We rarely interacted since childhood. Occasionally meeting. We just exchanged simple greetings or had meals together with others. It wasn't like with John where we often spent time together. Half a year after the arranged marriage, Michael and I decided to get married. It wasn't just to fulfill the arrangement. I just happened to want to marry him. On the day of my wedding, I was very busy, but everything went smoothly. That night, there was a heavy rain. It wasn't until noon the next day that I heard from the servant that during my wedding ceremony with Michael Brown, John Smith came to try to take me away. He failed and was stopped outside the auditorium by David Lee. Michael's grandfather, Robert King, was very angry and punished John to kneel in front of the Brown family's ancestral hall all night. Then, he was sent to Country Tea to manage the Brown family's branch company. Hearing this news, I was very surprised. I never thought that John would come to try to take me away. Was he crazy? What he did was so insane. Not long after, the Brown family held another family banquet. This time, there were fewer people than last time. After having my fill, I felt a bit sleepy, so I went back to my bedroom first. When passing by the study, I casually glanced inside and found a book on the floor. So I went in and picked it up. To my surprise, it wasn't actually a book but a diary disguised in a book cover. I didn't want to open it at first, but when I saw the words "She has finally become my wife" written on the cover, I was instantly intrigued. I remembered the speculations I had when I was with Emma Taylor and finally opened the diary. The first page of the diary. 1. I first saw Lily Wilson on a rainy day. The Wilson family had just moved from City A to the capital. Old Mr. Wilson brought his 13-year-old granddaughter to visit for the first time. I was studying in the study, and my grandfather asked John to take Lily to play in the yard. Their laughter caught my attention. On normal days, such a scene would never happen in the Brown family. Maybe the study was too boring. I stood on the balcony and watched for quite a while. 2. My grandfather asked me to take good care of Lily, because of the relationship between our two families. I also regarded her as my younger sister, but Lily seemed to be very afraid of me. Every time she saw me, she would stay far away. Only when John appeared would she show a smile. Well, they are of the same age after all. Ethan Johnson is my best friend, and his sister Emma is Lily's classmate. They quickly became good friends. 3. Lily is pure and innocent. I noticed her again at her 17th birthday party. She was wearing a light blue dress and standing in the crowd, like a dazzling morning star. After the party, John gave her a bunch of flowers. She responded with a hug. They probably have feelings for each other. At that moment, I stopped my steps from getting closer to her. After going abroad, I've been paying attention to Lily's news all the time. It's just that every time it's some not so good news. John Smith is playful by nature. How much grievance the well-behaved and obedient she has suffered, I don't know, but I know my status. I can't even go to comfort her with a word. Wilson family's company had a problem. I could have directly provided funds, but John beat me to it, proposing marriage to Lily Wilson, knowing Lily likes him. I can do nothing but bless them, but it's also a pity. When the two families agreed to the marriage, they decided to marry right after graduation, after learning that John had a mistress outside. I rushed back before their graduation. 4. I did indeed scheme against John, but my affection for Lily is far more than the 10 billion in the bet. I like her, not because she is the eldest daughter of the Wilson family, nor because of the agreement from our grandfather's generation. It's because she is Lily, in the days secretly infatuated. Every time I look up at the stars, in my mind is her figure wearing a blue long dress at 17. About her, there are many more memories. In the long river of years, they have turned into a good medicine, constantly healing me. 2 months after marriage, Lily always says we have marriage before love. She doesn't know that I have had a secret crush on her for many years. After closing Michael Brown's diary, I went downstairs. When I found him, he was in the yard discussing matters with the elders of the family. Seeing me, he immediately put down his wine glass, nodded at that person, and turned to walk towards me. Lily, why are you downstairs again? Weren't you sleepy? Michael pulled me into his embrace. Winter has come. And he always worries that I might get cold. I hugged him tightly, bit my lip, hesitated for a while but still decided to confess. Michael. There was a book that fell to the floor in the study. I accidentally saw your diary. Sorry. Michael lowered his eyes and chuckled softly. Perhaps the notebook didn't want to keep the secret from me anymore. It wanted you to know my feelings. After staying in the yard for a while, we returned to the bedroom. As soon as we entered, Michael carried me horizontally to the bed, his thin lips curling into a smile. Honey. Sleep. The next morning when I woke up, I saw that Michael's diary had updated content. Lily's marriage before love was my long-planned scheme. After marriage, the bitterness of unrequited love all turned sweet.